How's it going, Jets fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Ryan Moran. And today we're going to discuss Denzel Mims, who obviously wants out. He wants to be traded. He wants off the Jets, out of Gang Green. This is something that feels like it's been a long time coming. Former second-round pick out of Baylor. What can you get back for him? We'll discuss that. What kind of materialized to lead him to want another opportunity elsewhere. He is a talented player. Denzel Mims has what it takes to be an NFL caliber player. I just think he might need to change his scenery. Just one of those guys needs to change his scenery. Maybe a system that will give him a little bit more opportunity. Clearly, the Jets just don't see it. I don't really think he fits their scheme very much, which may be different for another coach, a different team. So that's something that we will discuss. Maybe a team that will try to trade for him and offer some draft capital in return, Ryan. But how you doing today, my friend, and your impressions on Denzel Mims wanting out?
Sure, I'm doing great, Alex. I mean, I think we had both kind of, signaled to it in prior episodes when we had discussed the wide receiver group about a week ago, and it just really wasn't looking too good for him. And I love Denzel. It's really unfortunate. I mean, that 2020 draft class, as good as the 21 and 22 classes have looked the last 2 years, that first class, obviously for JD, and, it was a different coaching staff and it was in a COVID year. So, there's definitely some obstacles, but it's not looking great, with Becton's injuries, with guys like, James Morgan no longer on the roster, the Michael Piron and Ashton Davis competing for roster spots. And, obviously it doesn't look like Mims is really going to be with the Jets moving forward. I think that the trade request really comes as no surprise. I guess, people had really speculated throughout the offseason when the Jets just continued to say nothing but great things about him, from Joe Douglas to Robert Saleh to Michael Floor. And, I had said it like about a week or two ago, like I felt like it was just really hard to get a true read on what they felt, because sure, they're saying all these great things, but being at practice, seeing him work with the third team, I feel like the top five, like we said, with Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Braxton Berrios, and Jeff Smith is pretty set. And, his role was looking minimal once again, similar to last year. And you said it, the talent, it's a second round pick in 2020, physically, athletically speaking. I mean, this is a gifted football player, but like you said, the fit in the scheme, picking things up mentally, it just never really seemed to materialize. And I think his confidence, I feel bad. I think it's kind of, shot him down in that sense. And, last year did not play very much, even when opportunities, to get a spark in the offense were needed, from someone like him with his big play threat ability, it just wasn't there. And, he met with the media about 2 weeks ago now and spoke on just the fact that he felt like he did everything, which obviously his agent said in the statement yesterday. And, wasn't really getting any opportunities to work with first team offense.
Yeah, and I don't expect him to. When you have Elijah Moore, you got Braxton Berrios, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Jeff Smith. Where does Denzel Mims fit into the equation here? Not anywhere, really. And ultimately, he is going to be a trade piece here. And if another team is willing to take him on, that would be ideal for the Jets, because, getting any draft capital back in return is a good situation for them. And, this is a guy who put up 133 yards last year, 357 yards as a rookie in 2020, has not scored a professional touchdown, had a couple drops in the first preseason game. And then, 34.8% catch rate last year in 11 games, 23 targets. That's a really, really bad number. Like, he's just like, I think you said it best. The confidence for me is what's really lacking with him. He does not seem to be his normal self. He doesn't seem to be confident. And I think he's a guy, a lot of professional athletes are like this, that if they're not feeling good about themselves, they won't play well. So he's got to get that confidence back somehow. And you look at like Tyquan Thornton, another Baylor guy who was just drafted this year by the Patriots, and he's not even working with their first team. It seems like these Baylor receivers are a little bit hyped. Maybe they don't come out as professional ready as you'd hope. Because I think George Pickens was the pick after Thornton, and he's been absolutely tearing it up for the Steelers. They continue to just absolutely crush it with receiver draft picks. But I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a return for Denzel Mims, second round pick going into his third year, what can you get back in him? Probably a late round pick, maybe a fifth round pick, maybe a sixth and a seventh, maybe a combo of late rounders. A fifth, I think, would probably be ideal. I think you agree with that, Ryan. And, this is a guy who might be able to compete. Matt Rule, former head coach of Baylor, maybe he's a guy that would like Denzel Mims. Sam Darnold's on that team, obviously knows him. Is there a world where Matt Rule's like, I want this guy? I think he could be a decent player for us. You got DJ Moore over there, but you got Robbie Anderson, another former Jet. So, there's not an extensive wide receiver room for the Carolina Panthers. Maybe Denzel Mims can go and compete and offer Baker Mayfield another option in the receiving game. What are your thoughts on that and maybe reuniting with Matt Rule?
For sure. I think you really said it best. The best case scenario for the Jets is getting a fifth round pick in return. Now, I feel like that's hard. I think the good thing, and something to take from the statement put out by his agent was that the Jets have indicated they won't release him. So I think that's, a way to really try and, get a team to pony up a fifth round pick instead of a sixth or a seventh, like you said. And the Panthers I guess, are one of the fits. I've seen a lot of teams floated around out there. And, I guess that's something, we'll really find out here now as the request has been put, from Mims and his agent really to see what teams bite and have interest. Look, at the end of the day, he's a 24-year-old receiver that's 6'3", over 200 pounds with 4.3 speed, and his rookie year, he showed a lot of potential. I just think, like you said, the fit in the scheme, the struggles last offseason really just hurt him throughout the 2021 campaign. And then, this year, while it seemed like he approached the offseason very well and, they were definitely pleased with his progress, it still just wasn't necessarily enough to really, get an opportunity to make a substantial impact with the starters.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a guy who, definitely seems to have the work ethic. His agent did say he worked all off season trying to, put himself in a position where he could compete for starting reps. And at this point, he's just being left by the wayside. There's just too much talent. Garrett Wilson, the injection of him is too much. You know what I mean? Like he is obviously a penciled in starter. Denzel Mims, if you're looking at a guy who's going to be featuring on the boundary, I think that, Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson are both probably flip-flopping in the slot and boundary. I see that as a pretty healthy split there. And there's just no room for Denzel unless an injury happens. And that wide receiver room is extremely healthy right now. Knock on wood. So Denzel obviously wants an opportunity elsewhere. I don't know. Maybe there's a bad team out there like the Panthers that might be willing to take a shot on him for a late round pick. But we'll see, guys. This is interesting. I'd love to hear your perspectives below in the YouTube comments about Denzel Mims, where he might go, what you'd be happy getting back in return for a former second round pick 2 years ago. Definitely an interesting situation, but something I think that most of us saw coming. We hope and wish all the best for Denzel if his wishes are indeed granted. But as always, make sure to like and subscribe below on the Jets YouTube channel, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.